So, given the land of AI, how should we think about privacy at this point? Right? You know, Claude Code, developed by Anthropic, developed a program where it actually lives on your computer and is able to automate your tasks, right? So, what does this mean for you as a person? How should you think about your data? Well, I think I think 10 years ago, that answer was a lot more simple, right? It was, oh, don't put your credit card in a shady website, right? Don't share very sensitive information on social media, right? That was very simple for people to navigate and to conceptualize, right? The value proposition as a user was very defined, meaning, why would I share very sensitive information to Instagram? What am I getting out of it, right? Like, I might get a few likes, and I think that was very easy for people to navigate. Now we're living in a world to where it's a lot more complex of an answer, right? You're going to see people online, they're going to say, don't download that AI tool. It's going to steal all your data. Well, I'm here to tell you, these companies are. Don't get me wrong, right? OpenAI just released an integration into your medical services. They just acquired a company for health products, which means they will be harvesting your health data and selling that off. You have, again, Claude Code that lives on your computer that will have access to everything on your computer, and they can do whatever they want. Third, you have Sam Altman that did openly say, be careful what you essentially send to OpenAI. If you send if you send something illegal to OpenAI, they will tell the authorities. So they've been very open with this, right? That's great. Transparency is great. But again, back to my initial question, what does this mean for you as a consumer? I think you really have to come to terms with the value proposition. It's the way you need to think about it, is the cost analysis, right? Ask yourself, is the data that I'm giving them worth the productivity gains? And I think that depends on the person. I don't think we're living 10 years in the past where it's like, don't share your data, right? There's no use for that. There's no benefit. I think now is a lot more complex in the sense that these tools are very, very useful. These tools with vibe coding and so forth are saving people hours and hours and hours a week. So in other words, if ChatGPT or Claude or whoever can save you hours on your workload per day, it might be worth giving them access to your vacation photos, right? And so me personally, I think what I would do is to move away all your sensitive information, right? Your W-2s, all that information, right? Anything that's super, super personal to you, and also, something that they could take and use and run with it, move that information. Everything else, in my opinion, you're gonna have to come to terms with them getting. So for instance, your chats, your emails, I think, in my opinion, these tools are so valuable. I think I'm willing to give up some of my personal private data so that I can get those productivity gains. I think that's a trade-off that I'm willing to take, but I think it's very individual. And I don't give into the rhetoric that, you shouldn't use, AI at all because it's stealing all your data. So it's lame. It's like, well, I think their value proposition is there. You're going to save a lot of time in your, daily activities. I think it's definitely worth giving these AI tools a trial, but just know that they will have access to all your data.